have had a chance to review, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Item number 1 under new business is approval of change order number 1 with National Wash Authority for water tank cleaning. Total is $1,200. Kimberly, welcome.
Hello, thank you. This is the balancing change orders, also the first change order for the tank washing contract that we did this year. We had some issues with some of the stains that were on Crescent Ridge tanks, so it just took a little extra, and so we had to use a different chemical. So this is to close out this contract, and it's an additional $1,200, and it is budgeted, and it brings the total contract amount to $50,000.
Questions for Kimberly? Otherwise, entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Item number 1 is approved. Thank you, Kimberly. Item number 2 is authorization for the mayor to execute agreements with AlDOT regarding installation, operation, and maintenance of traffic control signals and roadway lighting. Brian, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon. We have agreements in place now between us and AlDOT to do maintenance of signals and roadway lighting along certain corridors. Those corridors being 69, US 82, AL 215, AL 297, US 11, I 2059. When AlDOT upgrades equipment at these signals, they like to upgrade or update the agreement as well. So that's what's prompting this. So there's no associated funding. The money we spend through operations now to do this will continue to be the same.
Questions? for
Motion.
Brian? Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Too slow.
I did have a question.
Too late.
Mr. Fail, you can ask a
Pass.
question after the vote, but we appreciate your question.
No, go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, and I think you've told me this before, like on Skyland Boulevard, the lights going to some of the subdivisions and here and there, they're AlDOT, but do they determine how long the? Yeah, the setting is, because we get complaints.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
They make that determination.
Yes, sir.
It's okay. Sure, that was it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, John. I think we got a motion. We're approved, aren't we, Brandy? All right. Item number 3, authorization for the mayor to execute an intelligent transportation systems agreement with AlDOT. That's always important to aid in traffic management. Brian, let us know how we're going to be more intelligent.
So we're actually doing this right now. We don't have an agreement in place, but basically AlDOT and the city share resources like the fiber optic network, the traffic cameras that are monitoring traffic, dynamic messaging systems. So those resources are being shared for the purpose of, collaborative effort for the traffic management center at UA, for, monitoring and operation of our traffic system. So basically this puts what we're doing now, the shared, both agencies using those resources in an agreement.
Questions?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Item number 3 is approved. Item number 4, approval of professional services agreement with Premier Service Company, total not to exceed $9,500. Welcome.
Thanks, sir.
You are not Jason.
I am Jason today. Sorry about that. We've got the B team, but this is to allow us to do some horizontal boring for installation of conduit for fiber optic cable. Our fiber optic cable currently ends at Gene Stallings Avenue in the University Strip area, and we want to extend it about 2 blocks further to Frank Thomas, and that will allow us to directly wire 3 and hopefully a 4th camera that we've got in the area. They're currently operating on Wi-Fi, and it fails when the area is busy. So,
Questions?
Where's the money coming from?
it's coming from the University Boulevard Improvement Project.
And Gene Stallings and Frank Thomas run parallel to each other. Are you connecting them or running it north-south down them or what?
We're going to extend the fiber As it stands, the fiber traveling east goes as far as Gene Stallings, and we want to take it all the way to Frank
Oh,
Thomas.
okay.
Yeah,
Where's it coming from?
it's coming from City Hall
Okay.
downtown. Yeah,
Go down 7th Street or what?
it goes along 6th Street.
6th Street. I'm fine with it. Motion.
Moving second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 4 is approved. Item number 5 is authorization to enter into an agreement between City of Tuscaloosa and Westervelt Company regarding transfer and conveyance of assets, ownership, and operation of North River Yacht Club low-pressure sanitary sewer system. Mr.
It's a
Moore.
mouthful. Good afternoon.
It was a mouthful. Good afternoon.
This process, we've been negotiating with Westerville for approximately 6 months. I know, Mr. Chairman, you've been involved since the beginning of those discussions. If approved, we would ask this go on the 27th council agenda, but the nuts and bolts of it are in the Exhibit A that was included in your packet. Gives you the geographic specifics, and let me just note, this is tied specifically to the North River Yacht Club area and neighborhood. This is Westervelt's really only primary interest in the area, and due to growth factors, overall maintenance, proximity to the lake, we would like to take over that system, and it's been a very productive negotiation. Westervelt will be offering, I think we're approximately, Tom, we're still at about 162.5. We're still waiting on that quote from Mickey's Backhoe for a couple of minor repairs we want to do before it's transferred, but that doesn't seem to be any type of deal killer for any party, but we should have that well in advance of the 27th. In addition, we do have a couple Westervelt representatives here in case you do have any questions.
Brendan, one of the things that I think is important to note is there's been some real good due diligence in this.
Yes, sir.
As we've kind of evaluated that system, I think this is a good thing for the city of Tuscaloosa for long-term growth. And then they're also going to provide us with some capital or some money, right, in reserve to help with any, hopefully
And
there
that
won't be
capital
anything
number
major.
was based off of the historic maintenance over the
Sure.
last 10 to 15 years from Westervelt, so that gave us a really good baseline. Over that 6 months, you've had a full legal review, full engineering review, full water and sewer review. Really want to thank Westervelt. They provided enough data to where our team could go back and cross-reference it from a water and sewer and engineering standpoint. Mr. Bob has done a fantastic job, Mr. Gardner, in reviewing the document to make sure both parties are protected and it makes sense for us to move forward.
Absolutely. Questions from committee members?
So when would we take over?
I would assume it would be at the end of June, assuming estimate comes in, or excuse me, the estimate is back after council adoption.
So the council action is tied to an engineering study coming back?
Well, no, repair.
What?
During the study process, the review process, a minor repair was discovered. We're just waiting on the estimate back. I don't think it would exceed 50,000, somewhere probably more than 35,000 range, but we should have that back in advance before.
Okay,
council.
so and I've never done this, we're taking over something under the ground that is both an asset and a liability, right?
That may be fair, yeah.
It's an asset that it's capital that's been invested, it's liability and it's gonna require maintenance and
Correct.
some repair. And then they're giving us a lump sum
Yes, sir.
to take it over. And then Kimberly, do your folks, are y'all involved in assessing what the business potential looks like going forward?
We've been involved, Water and Sewer have been involved with this, the whole process, with evaluating what's out there, what it takes to maintain it, the standard at which it was built. I mean, we've been involved the whole time with it, so we agree with doing this and taking this over, and then we agree that the amount is fair for us to maintain it. This is very similar to what we did with the Barrett's Trace pump stations, where the Barrett's Trace one, they gave us, we got the estimates for it, and they gave us the cost, and we're gonna get it up to standards. This is a similar situation to where we're gonna be using the money to maintain it and that kind of thing.
And I forgot to mention this, but Kimberly makes an important point. I would assume that Kimberly and her team would ask if those funds be essentially reserved for any improvements that may come up in the geographic area out of that, because that's where that baseline estimate came from.
All right, and does that need to be, is that packaged in the action that we'll be asked to approve?
Yes,
Ms.
sir. I
Dan,
think we've,
is that-
we've spoken to accounting and finance and asked that that be kind of put off to the side for this particular area.
The lift stations in that area already belong to the city.
Correct.
Right.
This is just really the pipes.
It feeds that lift
Just the
station.
lines.
Brendan, whatever this repair is that's out there, it'll come out of this money
Correct.
from Westerville, right?
Right.
Before,
And I think we're discussing a cost sharing right now, and traditionally Mickey's backhoe has been the one that's done primarily the work for the last few years, so waiting to get a sound estimate. I think we have essentially a not to exceed number. We're just hoping, we had a very, very conservative estimate on the high end. I think it'll come back a little bit lower, but obviously we'll get that validated from the estimate. So, and then to your point, Counselor Busby, essentially that council action would effectuate the agreement side of it, and we would take it and sort out the repair side.
Okay, and we would expect to change hands into June, you said?
Into June, early July. It seems like probably before the 4th, as long as there's no glitch in paperwork.
and in 2 weeks, we should be voting on that because the legal agreement, everything should be done. You think
Yes,
by then,
our
right?
request is that if it gets out of committee, would be for it to go on council on the 27th. I think Mr. Robbins and Mr. Bobbitt have basically ironed out the agreement, and we're just essentially waiting on that estimate to finalize the number, and then,
Then we'll be ready.
yes, sir.
Other committee questions?
I don't have any other questions.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 5, right? Golly. Item number 6, sorry. Well, we just approved number 5 though, right? Sorry, I can't read without my glasses. Item number 6 is approval of right-of-way use permit for CB&S Bank to install a steel balcony in the right-of-way along sidewalk at 2135 University Boulevard. Mike, welcome.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So this is a request to install a balcony at 2135, which is just right on the other side of 22nd. It'll be an 8-foot balcony. It'll have a canopy on the top, some columns that'll be along the wall. It's going to be a freestanding unit, but it'll look like it's a part of the building. We've had several discussions with the developer's representative, and at this juncture, we're recommending approval of the right-of-way use permit.
Mike, can we talk a little bit about a few of the issues that were there? I do want to make sure we kind of address, I think you covered some of it, but I've learned a lot in this process over the last several days personally, as a council person. But I know whenever someone wants to put something in the right of way on a sidewalk, or if it's a balcony, that's what we're dealing with, like a balcony, you've got to have this right of way permit, right? This right of way permit, the city has
Yes,
to approve,
yes.
and the council has to vote on, right, every time.
Yes, and, so what they're doing is they're putting an improvement in our public right-of-way, and this is a way, I think, for the city to, have some regulatory authority on this, but also that the developer assumes the responsibility of that improvement in the right-of-way. It relieves the city
Of that liability, all of it.
of the liability. If it needs to be removed for a public purpose or any particular reason, that is a burden of the developer or the right-of-way use permit holder. So any maintenance or repairs or damage that happens to a balcony or a part of an infrastructure that's in a right-of-way use permit is not the city's burden to repair. In this particular right-of-way use request, there was some issues with some existing trees that are along University Boulevard, and we all know that those trees have a great aesthetic value to our community. So we've worked through some issues with that. We get concerned when we have columns and/or, for lack of a better word, an obstruction that's placed in the pedestrian pathway. So we we take that into consideration in looking at right-of-way use permits as well.
And the other thing that I think is important is the balcony has got to be removable.
Yeah,
right?
that,
If, I mean, chances are probably it might not ever have to be taken down, but it's gotta be removable for whatever reason, like if a streetscaping plan happened or something totally new happened that we don't foresee right now, it would have to be able to be removed.
yes, sir, that's right, and that is part of the agreement. It's already in the ordinance, I guess is maybe the right terminology for that, but the agreement that this entity will sign, has those stipulations in that agreement.
And the American with Disability Act, the ADA compliance, that's another issue I know that we covered, just making sure that.
Yes, yeah.
That
Right.
we're doing our best to make sure that's happening too, and I think the petitioners have done that also, so
Yeah,
I think that is very important. So with that, I want to open up questions for committee members or other council people, if y'all have any on this.
Well, this won't be on the balcony on University Boulevard.
No, sir, it's not. No.
Have the others been a problem?
No, I don't know that we have had any issues with any of them.
No, in fact, John, most of the ones that I can think of have been an aesthetic improvement to downtown. I've gotten a chance to talk with the developer and the staff prior. I don't have any additional questions, Mr. Lanier.
Mr. Lanier, I would entertain a motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item, Cassius, what is it? Number 6. Item number 6 is approved. Is there any other business to be brought before this committee today?
Hey, out of curiosity.
Yes, sir.
Mind we ask, when do y'all think it'll be done? I get to see it every day, and I've loved seeing the new brick underneath of the old facade.
Around the first.
Okay. It's really, are you gonna keep that old brick, or how's it?
We're still working through some of those issues, because I have some new brick on the front, maybe keep some of the old brick on the side.
It's really cool, as y'all uncovered, and I know it's probably not cool to deal with from an architect or construction.
Old JC Penney.
Yeah.
I forgot that. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Old JC Penney
That's
building.
old J.C.
Yeah.
Penney building.
Yeah.
Those
I
old bricks
worked
might
there.
be worth something, you never know.
My mother's first job.
I worked there.
Wow.
Did you? My mom
Hey,
did too.
But before,
I love it. My mother worked there in
Yeah.
high school.
Really?
JCPenney.
but before we adjourn, I just want to thank our city staff for their professionalism and for how on this particular issue, I mean, every issue, usually, I can't think of one that wasn't. It's always professional. They handle themselves very well. I think a lot of times our staff gets a lot of criticism from outside parties, but
Not from me.
I witnessed through this particular issue that we kind of sat down, we talked about it, and I think we came to a solution that I think everybody can live with, and I think that's important. And I do appreciate all of them for their hard work on this particular issue and every issue that we face here at the city. So I just want to say
Robert, how
that.
long you think before we get our sidewalk back?
Around the first of the year.
Okay.
It's true. Anything else we need to discuss? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, Mr. Tyner. Any other discussion? All in favor say